Once all the submittal workflows have been defined, we can now begin the process of creating an item and submitting it to the Submittal Manager for review. As a project member, I'm now going to select the Create New Item. Here we can link this to a previously created spec section, add a sub-spec section if required, add a title, then add a description. Once we have the description added, we can then choose a type. Under the drop-down, I'm going to set this as product data. We can then assign this to our Submittal Manager. Selecting the drop-down, we can now select the module leader. Under the Attachments drop-down, I can either drag and drop a file or choose the Browse button. Here I'm going to select the Browse button and then choose the specification document from my dataset. Selecting Open, this will then attach this document to my item. Once all the information is added, we can now assign this to the manager. Selecting the Create button will then create this item and assign it to my Submittal Manager. Acting now as the Submittal Manager, you will now see I've got item number 9 open for review. Selecting this in the list of submittals, I can now review this and then submit it to the reviewer. Within this item, I can review the overview, details, the attachment, and any activity that's happened on this item. Once I'm satisfied all the information is correct, I can now submit this for review. Selecting the Submit to Reviewer option, this will now submit this to the reviewer of my choosing. Selecting the drop-down, I can now choose one of the reviewers that are part of my project. Here I'm going to select Connor Tyler, and I can also add in any co-reviewers as necessary. I can then now specify a reviewer due date. Selecting the drop-down, I can now choose a date from the calendar. At this point, I can also include any further project members as part of the distribution list. I can then add any notes as required, and once I'm happy with all the information, I can select Done. This will now submit the item to the reviewer. Now acting as the reviewer, I can now review my emails. I will have got an email notification about the submittal. Here you can see that item C1030 number 9 interior doors is now assigned to me. I can scroll down my email and I can view the item. This will automatically open up the submittal item. Within here, I can now provide an official response to this. Prior to doing this, I can review all the overview details, the details tab, and also review the attachments. I can also look at the activity and follow the full traceability of this item as part of its process. Once I'm happy with all the information, I can then select a response to this item. Selecting the drop-down, I can now choose one of the predefined options. Here I'm going to select the approved option to approve this, add any response details, and I can also add, if required, any official response attachments. Selecting the drop-down, I can also include the official document that was part of the item. Once I'm happy with the official response details, I can now select Done. Once I've added the official response, I can now select the Return to Manager option. This will then return the item back to the Submittal Manager. Selecting item number 9 in the list, you will now see that this can be reviewed and distributed with the official response. At this point, I can also review the overview, details, the attachment details, and also review the activity to show that this has now been officially approved and submitted back. Selecting the Close and Distribute option will now allow me to send this back to the responsible contractor, add in any subsequent distribution lists of project members that require to see it, and add any notes as required. If I'm happy with this information, I can now select Done to officially close the item. You will now see that the submittal is now closed in my list. This now completes the process of how we create the submittal, submit it for review, process it, approve it, and then apply an official response. We can also create packages while working with submittals. These packages are an optional workflow to group related items together. Managers are responsible for creating the package and grouping the items in the package together. Everyone in a project can see packages, but only those with the required permissions can see the items contained within the package. To create a package, simply select the Packages tab under Submittals. Then select Create New Package. Here we can link this to a spec section and then give this a title. Once we select the Create button, this will now give us the ability to add the items into this package. Choosing the Add Items button will allow us to select open items that are existing in the project. Here I'm going to select some of the existing items and then add them into a package, selecting Done once complete. This will now group the items all together into this package. As the Submittal Manager, we can now review each of the individual items as required, but we can also now review them as part of this Submittal package.